There are so many worthy knights in this place, and you so fair, that every one of them all will take pains to stand well in your grace. But if to me so fair a grace might fall, that you on me as your servant would call, so humbly but so truly would I serve, more than any, till death me unnerve. Cressida to his proposal little answered, like one that with sorrow was oppressed so, that in effect she not of his tale heard, but here and there perhaps a word or two, though she thought her sorrowful heart would break in two, for when she began her father to espy, she began to fall from her horse well nigh. But none the less she thanked Diomede for all his trouble and his good cheer, and that he offered her friendship in need, and she accepted it with a good manner, and wished to do what pleased him and was dear, and she would trust him, and well she might, as she said, and from her horse did alight. Her father has her in his arms at once, and 20 times he kissed his daughter sweet, and said, "Oh, my dear daughter, welcome." She said she was glad with him to meet, and stood mute, mild and meek him to greet. But here I leave her with her father to dwell, and straight I will to you of Troilus tell. To Troy is come the woeful Troilus, in sorrow beyond all sorrows smart, with angry look and face most hideous. Then suddenly down from his horse he starts, and through his palace with a swollen heart to his room he goes. Of nothing he took heed, and no one dared to speak to him indeed. And there his sorrows that he contained had, he gave free issue to, and death he cried. And in his throes, frenzied and mad, he cursed Jove, Apollo, and Cupid aye, cursed Ceres, Bacchus, and Venus beside, his birth, himself, his fate, and even nature, and save his lady, every other creature. To bed he goes, and tosses there, and turns in fury, as does Ixion in hell, and in his way nearly to dawn sojourns. But then he his heart a little began to quell through his tears which had begun to well, and piteously he cried out for Cressida, and to himself thus he spoke and said, "Where is my own lady, beloved and dear? Where is her white breast? Where is it? Where? Where are her arms and her eyes clear, that last night at this time with me were? Now may I weep alone with many a tear, and grasp about I may, but in this place, save a pillow, I find naught to embrace."